You saw, again, the screen, some of the history, the first 10 years. You were actually part of that first 10 years, weren't you, Lee?
Yeah, I was hanging around with Kisko. Hyle worked for, we had a garage on the other side of town, my dad and my uncle, and Hyle was a mechanic there. And Hyle was really the guy that got me started thinking about being a mechanic, because he'd let me do just about anything I could do in the garage and help him. And then I would go with him or Eddie to the races for a couple of years there. Then when I got old enough, I think it was when I was 21, I built the car I had. And he and I built it, and another guy in town here did a lot of welding on it. And then I ran it, I can't remember for sure, but it must have been like 64, 65, and 66, something like that.
This is the Sportsman,
yeah. And I never won anything. I was second to Ronnie one night when he won.
Many people were.
He and I have often talked that for one or two of those years, as consistent as I run, and if they'd had points back there, I would have been, you know, maybe not the winner, but, you know, right up in the points for that division. What I really got a kick out of tonight, and everybody else can see that too, is the driving suits we have now, or they have now. Well, look what we raced in then. White t-shirt. How many guys were in a white t-shirt that were driving? And with Hyle, I always thought that maybe Hyle got hit by a rock too, because he, you know, he got this brain tumor later, and this was just my own thoughts, was I just wonder if he got hit with a rock, and because we never had, like maybe the last year I run, we might have had a screen on the door. But before that, we never, I mean, the way the cars are built now compared to the way we had them, I mean, you know, we had 2 roll bars and a piece of tin, and that's it. That's all that was there till you got into the seat. And nobody got, you know, nobody was hurt too bad, or, you know, everybody, we had a lot of fun and really enjoyed myself.
If you had to fill out this sentence, the funniest thing that ever happened to me was this, what would you say?
I don't know whether it would be the funniest thing that happened to me, but I do remember when we were racing, after the races one night, Jughead Pierce, he liked his beer. And, I can remember he was in the pits, and we always hooked the tow bars up on the cars right after the race, and he come walking right through and never even thought about that tow bar. Right over he went, you know, picked himself up. I can remember that. I don't know, it was more serious things, I guess, going on than just trying to beat Ronnie.
Yeah.
That was the main thing. I mean, he was tough.
Did you guys, when you come back to Kane here, and there was Hyle and Eddie and others, Guy, was it sort of a fraternity? Did you guys share information among yourselves, or was it sort of separate individual teams?
Most of my information came from Frank Roman. Because I'd be after the races, when I was going to the races with Eddie, after the races at Stateline, then we'd go to Frank's house. And I did that, you know, quite often for that one summer. And I got to know Frank and sort of copied an awful lot of stuff that he did or that Ronnie did on their cars. You know, basically my car was built, the underneath of it, mine didn't look near as nice as Ronnie's, but the underneath of it was basically built the same as far as suspension and stuff. I remember one night up at Stateline, the darn thing wouldn't handle, and it was just washing out on a turn, something awful. I couldn't steer it. I kept putting a bigger tire in the right front, and so I went and told Frank, and he says, put the bigger tire in the left front. And from then on, the big tire was on the left front. I mean, he had, just like some of them people said on the movie, you know, he was way ahead of his time. He knew how things acted.
What was so unique about him? What background did he have that nobody else had?
Excellent mechanic.
Yeah.
He, just an awesome guy.
Was there a hero, Lee, when you were driving? Was there somebody you
Ronnie
said?
in the Sportsman, and then in the late models, the movie covered the great guys. I mean, Squirt was always right there. I remember Eddy telling me about when Squirt won, or when Eddy won the first Hyle Russell Memorial race on the last lap. And Eddy knew what he was doing, because Squirt would get very nervous, which you could tell how nervous Squirt is now, or you know, how he shakes. And Eddy said he just stayed right behind him, and he says he knew sooner or later Squirt would go wide, and he did. Mm-hmm. And Eddy got him. So, you know, and Eddy helped me an awful lot. Like Eddy had, him and his mom run Helen Marie Candies in Kane here, and they'd sell a lot of candy in Erie. And I spent many hours up in that Helen Marie place in the wintertime talking to Eddy about how we were going to build cars, what to do, if I'd be working on a car some night or something, and you know, get in a stump or something, I could go up there and talk to him about it. So it was, you know, we had a lot of good conversation.
Reputation of Guy Oaks.
Well, Guy and I have been friends for years.
So you're not going to give me a good answer, are you?
He was still in school, and we became friends. And
yeah, he's a lot older than me.
Reflect back on all your observations of Stateline, kind of what its legacy was.
Well, the main reason I went to Stateline to begin with was Eddy was there. And I remember the first night we took my car up there, they had a trial night. And Bobby was up there, and Eddy, and I'd never even raced a car before. And I went out there and ran around making a fool of myself, and Bobby was out there trying to make laps. And pretty soon Eddy got out on the track and waved me in. He says, "You got to get out of the way."
That's what Lori was trying to say.
One thing that I've always, you know, when we were racing back then, we'd race Bradford on Thursday night, Smithport on Friday night, Stateline or Olean on Saturday night, and then if you wanted to, you could go to Erie on Sunday. And there was quite a few weeks that I would race that schedule. And now like when my son was racing, you could race 1 or 2 nights a week. That was all they wanted to race, and we were racing usually 3 and 4. I mean, pretty near every week we'd go Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And sometimes if we wanted a long tow, we'd go to Erie on Sunday.
Wow, that's a lot.